watching the Apple Crafts podcast, and I am filming outside of Nashville, Tennessee. I am a hand dyer, and this is my knitting and sometimes crochet channel. So this will be the last video for the year. I decided I'm not going to do a second one because I'm tired, it's cold, I'm not feeling it. Part of the reason why I don't really do Vlogmas, you know. But yeah, so this is going to be the last one. Let's see. So I'm just going to show a finish that I have and some things I'm working on, some plans I have for the new year. And yeah. So, oh, shop news first. If you haven't been to the shop yet, I have a shop on Etsy, Apple Crafts Fine Yarn. And I have a bunch of yarn sets. So what the yarn sets are like curated skeins of yarn and packs of, like, there's some 2-packs and there's some 3s and some 4s of just colors that go together really well. Some of them are just 2 colors that go really well. So you have like you could do a larger project with 2 colors, or a lot of them are really meant for shawls. So you have like some 4s that are like colors that just kind of go together. So that's what's going on in there. I have a couple of sock sets, then some individuals, and I have a coupon code, Sparkle Season 15, which gives you 15% off of your order. And I also have discounted shipping. As far as Canada is concerned, I can just take the hit and do FedEx, or if there's any other options that Etsy does. Can't do DHL because that's a subscription service from what I understand. But I hope y'all get your mail stuff figured out soon, because that's gotta suck. I'm so sorry. They knew what they were doing when they were striking this time of year. That's gotta bite big time. So yes, that's what's going on with shop stuff. So finishes. I have my Holly and Ivy sock that is done. So I've got one on the blocker, so I only have one blocker, and then I've got the other one. So here we go. So I opted to not do bobbles because originally when I did this, I wasn't going to do bobbles down here regardless. But then up here, I was like, oh, do I want to do bobbles for like these sections right here? They're supposed to have bobbles because those are like the wreaths, like the proper wreaths. And I was like, you know what? I could, and I know an easy way to do it, but I just didn't want to do it. And some of you are saying the same thing. So yeah, so I opted to not do that. And it ended up being just like the pattern, but in reverse, because I was kind of playing around with doing 3 garland sections, but this is long enough. Now I'm fine with that. So, and this time I did opt to do color work on the whole sock instead of just half the sock, because on some color work patterns, depending on how it looks, if I think it's going to look okay in my head to just do like the top part and just do plain down here, then I will. But if I think it's going to look good to do the whole sock, then I will. Fluff on my nose. So that's what I did here. This is, I did the 72 stitch because I've figured out that whenever I do color work, I need to do 72 stitches. Yeah, so what else I want to say? I knitted on a US 2, and that's fingering weight. So I don't know what color the red is. This sparkly, if you can see it, I guess you can't see sparkle. This is all sparkly. This is pink champagne on ice. This is a very, very old colorway. I went through a period of time way back when I started dyeing yarn where I wanted to make things look realistic in color, and then I'm realizing that like a lot of people don't gravitate towards something that looks realistic in color. It's kind of more like what we see in marketing, so it's cartoonified. So that's why this doesn't look like pink champagne, because you know pink champagne looks like this in real life, but you're not going to visualize that in your head. It's not a cartoonified version, if that makes sense. So anyway, and then the green is just a green that I dyed up to go with one of the sock sets. So these are ready to go. I'm glad they're done for Christmas. So I will definitely be wearing those for Christmas. Let me put that down. Things that I'm working on. So I've got my Socks for Sam that I talked about last time. It's a charity that is doing research and information stuff for Vanishing White Matter Disease, and I'll link all that stuff down below. So I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to grab my other socks that I'm working on. I'll be right back. I'm in the middle of a row, because of course, but I do all my socks 2 at a time. So these are my socks for Sam. That's really purple on the screen, although, I mean, they're purple in real life too. So this color down here, I don't remember the name, but it's Brooklyn Tweed Arbor. I think it's Arbor. Yeah, I don't remember the color name. And then these here, I just kind of do like 3 to 4 sections each of Ichiban. That's a solid, well, tonal purple here. And then the multicolor here is Dark Unicorn. These are both my colorways. I may dye up some Dark Unicorn sometime next year to have it in the shop. It's a very intensive colorway, so it's not something I just want to dye and have sitting around. But I will deal with that later. Ichiban I sometimes have. Ichiban's actually part of a 4 skeins? No, 5 skein gradient that I sometimes do, and people really like it. Every time I dye it up, it gets sold out. But it kind of goes from like this dark purple, and then it goes to lighter shades of purpley and pink, and then like a little bit of blue, and then it goes into this pale pink. So I'll probably dye that up in the spring as well. Right now I'm sitting on a lot of yarn, so I don't want to dye up anything that's not for the dye channel. But yes, these are my socks for Sam. I am about 3.5 inches above the heel. So I'm probably going to do maybe another inch or so before I do the ribbing, and then I'll be done. And then these are going to get sent off. There's an address in Greenwich, Connecticut that these socks go to. You can follow Socks for Sam on Instagram, and all the information is there. They're doing a knit along right now this month too, if you wanted to do that. And they're giving away prizes like every week. So something you can check out if you want to do that. And those are knit on a US 4, and it's DK weight yarn. I wanted to do that so that it can get done a little bit faster. Because it is December, and I am trying to get stuff off my needles. But like, I'm not really counting socks, but I am counting socks, if that makes sense. It doesn't make sense. Because socks are always going to be something that's on the go. So it's like, I don't want to just have nothing on the needles, because there's always going to be socks, you know. That's why I say socks kind of count, but not really. But I've got like 4 pairs of socks I'm working on right now. I've got this. I've got a pair of socks for the shop. No, I only have 3. I got my mom's socks that I'll be showing you in a minute. Yeah, so I just have 3 right now, because the other one, the 4th one, was the one I just finished. So let's talk about my socks for my mom, which are almost done. So I changed out my bag that I keep my socks in. It is now in a red bag for the season. This is really more of a Valentine's Day bag, but like, nobody's really going to pay that much attention. It's just red and white, so people just think it's Christmas. So I use this from like the Christmas season until maybe the end of February, and then I go into like other bags that, like, I really need to have a spring bag. I don't really have one. I'll have to go bag shopping soon maybe. So let me get this out. So my mom's socks are knit on Madeline Tosh, and it's DK weight. This blue is called Midnight Pass, and this green is called Cardigan. And I'm just kind of swapping colors out. My mom and I wear the same sock, so I usually knit to about somewhere between 6 3/4 to 7 inches for the foot. Usually closer to the 7 inches, so somewhere in between there. So I'm about 2 inches off of that. This is going to be afterthought heels, so I'm going to do a green heel here and a blue heel here, and then do the green cuff and then a blue cuff for this one. So that's where I am on that. This is the sock that I take with me whenever I'm traveling or I'm at the vet or something like that. So they're getting done. They probably will get done before Christmas, but she's not going to get them until after. I tend to not mail anything out the week and a half before Christmas, because nothing's going to get there on time. It's going to be rare that something's going to get there on time, and this is going to get shipped. This is getting shipped to Connecticut, which would be about 3 or 4 days, but considering it's, you know, the height of the Christmas mailing season, it'll probably be like a week and a half. So she can just get it after. She'll be fine with it. She's got plenty of socks. As long as I call her, which I'm really bad at doing, then it's fine. So, yeah, I think I mentioned DK weight, US 4. These socks are 62 stitch. No, because it's DK. I knit my fingering weight on 62 stitches if they're just vanilla, because 64 is just a little bit baggy. So this is 24, so 48 stitches. That's 24 on each side. So these are close to being done. And that's really all I'm working on. I mean, you can see shop socks in the shop whenever they're done. I'm not really gonna, I don't think I'm gonna spend time talking about shop socks, because, you know, most of you guys are making your own socks if you want socks anyway. So it's really more for people who don't watch stuff like this. So there's no point in really talking about it. So plans that I have coming up in the new year, I've got a set of socks that I'm going to show you right here. I just dropped needles. So this is a color combo that I got going on. Since this is what I have the most of, I don't even know what this is. Oh, this is Ryan yarn. Roses are red, violets are lesbians. This blue, I don't know, I got it at Smart Supply in Nashville, and I think I dyed this up years ago. This might be mine. I don't even remember anymore. It's been so long. So these are going to be the bodies of the socks, and then what I think I'm going to do is this blue is going to be toes and cuffs, and this will be a heel. This will be the heel. So it's just going to be scrappy in that way. And I'm going to play around with my short row heel. I'm noticing as this is like my, is it my third year, my fourth year wearing socks? Like religiously, my fourth year wearing knitted socks, and I'm realizing the areas that I'm really blowing out is the bottom of the, like the ball of the foot, and on the back of the heel, like the bottom of the heel. So after learning the heel flap and gusset, I'm thinking what I want to do, I don't know if this is going to work at all, and I know I've never seen it, I'm just going to try it out, is I'm going to do a reinforcement on the heel when I do my short row heel. So like the reinforcement for the heel flap and gusset is you're slipping every other stitch, and then you purl across, and then you slip every other stitch and purl across. That's how I understand the reinforcement to be. So I'm going to try that on the short row heel. I don't know if it would work, but I want to see if I can get that to work. And then if I like the way it feels, then I'll probably start doing my socks that way, just so I can not blow out the heel and just worry about the ball of the foot. And I'm almost thinking about doing that for the ball of the foot too, but I'm wondering if that would be uncomfortable. I mean, this would be a good pair of socks to practice on. You know, if I just have one pair of socks that I practice it on and see how I like it, and if I don't like it, then whatever, right? So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to practice doing a reinforcement on the bottom of the heel and on the ball of the foot. So we'll see how that goes. But not going to touch this until at least the end of the month or the beginning of January. Another thing that I'm going to be working on soon. A lot of this I'll just go through my scrap bag, so I don't remember what kind of yarns these are. This is really blowing out on screen. It's a little bit more muted than that. This is a worsted weight pink yarn. I've got the image of the brand in my head, but I can't think of what it is. But anyway, I'm just going to make a headband because I like headbands. So I'm going to wear them. So I think this will be nice for some of my outfits. So this is going to be, I'm hoping I have enough yarn for this. I should. It's a headband. So I might only have a little bit yarn left for this, and just stick it in a blanket or something. But that's what this is going to be. And then another thing that I had that I was planning on doing, I'll throw a picture up of what I was thinking about doing for a hat. There's a lot of color work in that hat, so this is just a scrap for it. But this is Strawberry Smoothie. This is going to be one of the colorways. The brim of the hat and the main color is going to be Dark Unicorn. This one's a really, really dark dye lot, so there's more black in here than anything else. And then I'm going to do, one of the sections is going to have this Madeline Tosh Rhino in it. And then another section is going to have, this is Asexual. This is back when I was dyeing a bunch of different Pride colorways a few years back. So that's going to be in here. So I think these colors will go well together in some capacity. So that's what I'm using for that. That picture that I showed you is kind of hard to figure out what's going on here. But if you go into the project pages, there's a lot of hats that just have like one section that's different colors, or like two sections of the color work that's different colors. So I'm kind of going off of that so to give me an idea of where I want to do my different colors, since I don't have as many colors here as like you would do if you're doing different colors for every section. You know what I mean? So that kind of helps my brain work that way. So that's what this is going to be. These are all DK weight, and I'm using a 4 for these. 4 or 5. I'll probably use a 5. I don't know. I'll figure that out when I get there. I got to see what I have for 16-inch circulars too. I know I have a 4, so it'll probably end up being a 4. Yeah. I don't think I have anything else that I'm still working on those squares for the blanket. It's a very, very back burner at this point. I don't even think I touched the square in 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. And I'm at the end of needing to do this, right? I've got 3 or 4 squares left for each style, right? That would literally take me a week. It would take me a week. I just need to do it because I really want to be done with this. I started this blanket beginning of the year, maybe even last year. I don't remember. It's in my project pages, but definitely at the beginning of the year. So I want to be done with that because I have an idea for the rest of my worsted weight, because I don't make anything with worsted weight, and I don't know why I keep buying this stupid shit. Why am I buying stuff I don't use, right? So I have an idea for my blankets. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but it's going to be very modular because I figured out that that's the only way really that I'm going to be willing to want to make a blanket is if it's modular. So I'm going to take all of my worsted weight, not my red heart. The red heart's going to be separate because I want to stick the wools with the wools and the red heart with the red heart, because the care is different for each one. So all of my wool worsted weight, I want to just make a big square or 2 squares out of each skein. This is probably going to end up being obnoxious and I'll hate it. I don't know. But I want to take each skein of yarn and just make whatever size I get out of it. You know, if it ends up being really big, then I might just do 2, right? And I'm going to do like the first square for each one is going to be like, maybe I haven't really thought this out through enough. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. You heard it here first. I'm going to do 2 squares for each skein of yarn. And I'm going to do a mitered square for 1 square of them. And considering that I have a memory square blanket right now that's mitered and it's DK and the stitches are 60, that gives me like a size like this, right? I've shown those before. So I'm thinking what I want to do is do like 100 stitches or maybe even 150 stitches. So that'll give me a square that's like this big, right? And then anything after that, like I'll save, right? So that after I have all my squares for each skein of worsted weight yarn, that's a mitered square, I'm going to do a rectangle on one side, like maybe like the size, like the one size side of the square, and maybe 3 or 4 inches tall, and then just kind of join them together. I don't know how well that's going to work. I may end up having to like mattress stitch some of these. As I'm talking out loud about this and not making a lot of sense, I am going to have to mattress stitch some of those, I think. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. So it's going to be this hodgepodge, weird ass looking blanket full of worsted weight stuff. Did I have enough caffeine this morning? No. Can you tell? Probably. I'm trying my best. All right, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Next year's blanket is gonna be like that. And then I've got a bunch of sitting over here. I've got a whole lot of dark brown and light brown and some black Red Heart worsted weight classic Super Saver. And I'm thinking I might do something similar, but it would be, I don't know if I want to do crochet. I should do crochet. It'll be faster for me because I've been crocheting forever and ever, which is probably why I do mostly knitting now, because I've been crocheting forever and ever. But it would be faster to do like granny stitch squares, but that's so basic. Nothing wrong with it. You know, I got plenty of granny square. It's just because I have plenty of granny square, I don't know if I want to do another granny square. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Oh, you know what? I think I'll go on Ravelry and I'll see if there's any like squares that are not granny square. I'm sure there are that I could do like modular stuff with. There has to be. But I don't want like motifs or anything because I'm not about that life. I will literally outsource before I do something like that. I can do it. I still don't have the patience for it, so I won't do it. I will pay somebody before I go and do it. So. But those are my blanket plans for next year. But at the beginning of January, probably like my second or third podcast in, but in January, I'm going to go over my plans for knitting and crochet for next year, because my thought is to try to put some stuff in there that I haven't done yet, you know, because my make list for each year is getting a little boring to me, which is probably why I'm not really ticking off a lot of boxes. So, I want to practice steeking, and I found, I've already kind of made a list, but it's not set in stone yet, but I found a cup cozy thing that you can practice steeking with, so I'm like, okay, that'll work. Now I get that practice in, and then there's some brioche in there. Now I have done brioche before. I actually made 2 hats in brioche like years ago, but I hadn't touched it since. And the first hat that I made, I know that I did okay, but then the second hat that I made, I know I messed it up. I think I just ripped it out. So I want to get back to that so that I can actually get like set in stone in my head how to do brioche, so I can start doing brioche patterns. So that's my thought for that. And then it's really just kind of filling in the gaps of my wardrobe. That's kind of the focus. You know, I have a couple of crochet things in there. There's a lot of focus on like, you know, things that I have that are paid for patterns I want to still knock down. And I did actually make a folder recently. I don't know why I didn't do this years ago, but I went through every pattern that I've actually paid for. I printed off, and I made a folder on my computer of every pattern that I ever purchased that I printed off. So I found those patterns on Ravelry and stuck them in a bundle so that I don't have to keep trying to memorize what I paid for, so I can whittle that down. Because I'm really trying to, I still have stuff on my nose. I'm really trying to knock down that number before I buy a bunch of patterns. Now, am I buying patterns? Yeah, but I'm really, really slowing down on it. And that's because I have such a high number. Right now I've got a high number for me. Okay. Right now I have 34 paid for patterns. So I'd like to get it down to like the 10s before I start buying a bunch of patterns again. Because I know as I get older, I'm probably going to slow down on my knitting. And so I'm trying to be preemptive. I don't know how many years it's going to be before I do that, but I'm trying to be preemptive and like whittle down things so that I don't feel overwhelmed, because I don't want to be like at a point in the future where I hardly knit, and I've got this much yarn, because that's just going to drive me crazy. So I want to just try to whittle down to like small amounts of stuff that like I could just stick into one box or whatever as far as yarn's concerned, or you know, whatever. And I've got like way up here, you're not gonna be able to see it, I've got a folder this thick of all my printed patterns, because you know, if the grid goes down, you need hard copies of stuff, because you ain't gonna have electricity for God knows how long. Just thoughts, you know, you gotta print off stuff. So yeah, anyway, do I have anything else to talk about? I don't think so. My cardigan, I'm looking at my cardigan. I barely touched it, so I'm not going to show it. I showed it last time. Hopefully it will be, who am I kidding? It's not going to be done in January when you see me next. It might be done by February, which would be fine, because by February it'd be cardigan weather again out here, because we only have winter for like 2 months. So yeah, we kind of got a touch of winter, but now it's warming back up again. It was in the 20s last week. Actually got down to the teens. Got down to like 16, which is cold for down here in Tennessee. For middle Tennessee. I don't know about Appalachia, but for middle Tennessee, you know, that's cold. Now it's back up to like the 30s and 40s. Today I think it's 48, which is pretty warm. Normal, but warm. But January and you know, beginning of February, that's when we get the ice storms and stuff, and it's going to be nasty outside. And then by March, it's summer, like if we even see spring. So the last couple of years has been a little flip-floppy. We've actually had falls, like autumn, and we've actually had springs. So we might actually get a spring this year. I don't know. But I still remember for most of the time that I've been down here that we didn't have a spring and we didn't have an autumn. It just went from one to the other. So but yeah, so those are the plans. That's all I got. So enjoy your vlogmases. I know I'm enjoying my vlogmases. And enjoy your holiday season. I know it's a hard time for a lot of people. It's a hard time for me, which is probably why I don't really do a whole lot of Christmassy stuff, because it's hard to get into the mood. You know, it's like I try to do what I can to get happy for Christmas, and I've got some people, special people in my life that help me with that. But and you know, overall, it's a very hard season for me. So for myriad of reasons. But yeah, you know, I see you if you're one of those people. But we'll get through it. Have a good New Year, and I'll see you probably the first full week of January or second week of January. All right, take care. Bye.